Good morning, afternoon campers. I've just completed a full month in the motorhome and I've kept a record of like how much we've spent, and I just thought it might be of interest for anybody that was thinking about buying a motorhome, thinking about living in a motorhome, and what the costs are that could be involved with that. Now, I need my tea. Included in all of this is everything that we've spent in that month. And what isn't included are things like insurance, because the insurance is an annual cost. And I decided not to include it because your insurance is specific to you. What I paid will not be what you pay, and what you pay may not be what somebody else pays. So that's why I've not included that. So that's something you have to factor in. Um, because I've been in Tenerife 18 years and haven't had insurance in the UK for that long, it cost me a chunk of money, believe me. But it was worth it. I do, I'll make another video about it later. It was a bit of a challenge finding a company that was going to be reasonable. And I don't just mean reasonable in the price. One of them asked me to install their tracking device. I'm like, well, I've got my own. Why do I need yours? Oh, well, it's only there in case you have an accident, etc. And I thought, nah, that device is going to be tracking a hell of a lot more than just when I'm having an accident. But I digress. So the kind of things that I added up or kept track on were fuel, of course, that's a big expense, groceries. Um, Now, I have been on my own for about 2 of these 4 weeks, so the groceries bill wasn't that high. I'm also cooking in the van. I'm not using a lot of pre-prepared food. Occasionally, yeah. I might get a microwave meal or whatever because we've got one. Why not? But I do like to cook. As you've seen in other videos, I've made a van chili and van fraise. So it's a jalfrezi but in a van. Um, and I've got a fridge, so why not? I can eat the same meal for a couple of days. It saves money, and it's healthier as well. Fiona's daughter Alba introduced me to an app called Yuka. Oh my god, I daren't go to the shop. It looks at the barcode of the food that you're thinking of buying, and things that you think are healthy are actually not healthy at all, some of them. I'll give you an example. There was Actimel yogurts in Aldi, I think it was, and they scored lower than the generic yogurt from Aldi, which really surprised me. But it's a really handy app to have if you want to eat healthy and you want to buy healthy food. I would recommend it. It's called Yuka, Yuka, if I recall. It's like a picture of a little carrot. So I'm not endorsing it. I'm not paid for it or anything. It's just I found it really useful, and I thought you might do too. Other things that I have tracked are the cost of propane, because we were using exchangeable propane bottles. We were on flow gas. We've changed that now. So next month I'm going to be tracking the cost of LPG, which will be significantly less. Other things like maintenance, laundry, just the little things that add up as well. So for fuel, for example, now please bear in mind, I've driven in this time, I've driven to Hull, Grimsby, Yorkshire, a few stops around Yorkshire, up to Kirkcaldy in Scotland, then to Edinburgh, Aberdeen. Did a load of driving around Aberdeen, which in itself used an enormous amount of fuel because I was driving around the low emission zone. And Waze is really good for that. It literally skirts it. Every street that's a low emission zone, it takes you around it. But every route that I planned to go from the north to the south of the city, took 2 to 3 times as long, and I was stopping and starting, stopping and starting. I would have just preferred to go all the way around the ring road or something, maintain a constant speed. And that ended up costing an absolute fortune in diesel, and it's polluting. So I just don't understand the mentality behind LEZs. I just don't. If somebody could help me understand what is going on with the government and low emission zones, please help me out, because it seems self-defeating. We're not going to let polluting vehicles into this area. We're going to force you around this area, but then the pollution just moves outside the area. I just don't understand it. So for fuel, the total cost for the month was £427, 44 pence. That's a lot, I know, but we have done a lot of driving. Like I said, I was all over Yorkshire, Humberside. We went up to Scotland. We did Aberdeen, Forfar, Fife, and then back again, and visiting friends and family up there. And it was worth it. It was nice to meet up with family and friends. Groceries, on the other hand, nowhere near as much. Have a guess, because you might be surprised. We actually spent a total of £131.21 on groceries. And that's everything. That's milk, food, vegetables, coffee, everything. Everything that we've consumed went into this spreadsheet. And I still have some of that in the fridge. So maybe I should reduce that a bit. I don't know. Another big cost was propane. Keeping the van warm. It is a really well insulated van, as you might have seen in one of my recent videos. I actually slept in -10 weather with no heating on, because I actually forgot to turn it on. And I woke up the next morning with -6 outside, 6 degrees inside the van, and about 4 inches of ice crawling up the windscreen. That was mad. But what surprised me was actually how warm the van was inside. I mean, obviously 6 degrees is not warm, but it's 12 degrees warmer than it was outside. So we've spent £132.16 on propane. I think that's a lot. And that's why we decided to go with the Gaslow system, the refillable. So I ended up swapping out the bottles for 2 Gaslow bottles, and we filled those up. But that's going to be in next month's costs. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. I did the maths. The first week I had the van, and I was filling up the gas and exchanging the gas, and the hassle of finding a fill point as well, or a point where I could exchange the bottles, because Flowgas have a really good website, but it doesn't tell you the types of bottles available, so you have to literally drive there and check, or ring them. But there are some stores that you just can't ring, so you have to drive there and find out that they haven't got the bottle that you want. You know, B&Q is a good example. B&M is an excellent example. You cannot check stock. You have to visit the store. One day I spent 5 hours just looking for gas, and that to me was an enormous waste of time. And I was talking with Fiona about it. After the first week, I think a bottle lasted me 5 days, because I had the heating running constantly. It was bitter cold. And I said, if it carries on like this, it's going to cost me £300 a month just to heat the van. That's just ridiculous. And that's another reason why we got the diesel heater fitted. Very, very economical. It's very good, very nice. Does a fantastic job heating up the van. But of course it doesn't heat the hot water, and it doesn't heat the bathroom. So you've got to have a good warm bathroom for the girls. The only other thing really was laundry, and I've only spent £12.50 on laundry. And the main reason was we were up visiting family, so we used their washing machine. I think laundry would have come to about 30, maybe £40. for all of us. In fact, I've got a load to do now, but I'm parked up on a campsite specifically for that, because I need to charge the battery, and I thought might as well do some laundry while I'm here. The other big cost was when I had the blowout. Instead of changing one tyre, I changed both rear tyres. That cost, I've got it down here, bear with me, £348. That's a lot of money for a couple of tyres. Continentals as well. So the total cost for the first month came to £1,063.31. I'm looking at my screen over here because it's just bigger. That's a lot, I know, living full time in a van. If I drive less, which I will be doing, if I use LPG, which I will be doing, that cost is going to come down, and it's going to come down quite a lot. I can't really save any money on groceries because I'm cooking myself, so I like to do that. It's a good way of passing time as well. So if you've got any one pot recipes, stick them in the comments. I like spicy food as well, so bear that in mind. So yeah, for the month, it's cost just over £1,000. Now, some would say that's excessive. It's a lot, and it is, because I've added into that the cost of the tyres, the cost of fuel, because there was a lot of unnecessary driving, really, just exploring. And you know, some people would say, oh my god, that's a lot of money, you know, to live in a van. But it isn't. If you think about it, even at those prices, that's my accommodation, transport, food, lodgings, everything. I don't know if you could live in a house for that money. I don't think you could. Or even a one-bedroom flat. I don't think you could. Not that I'd like to. Because you want to see the view that I've got. I've done a short video on the park up that I'm at the moment up in Scotland. It's absolutely stunning, and I'm going to wake up to a beautiful view tomorrow morning as well. So that's my take on the first full month living in the motorhome, the costs. Share your ideas. You know, if you're living in a van, ways of reducing costs. You know, what you spend in diesel, what you spend on groceries, you know, what you spend on gas. I'd be interested to know, actually, because I'm going to set myself a little challenge next month now and see if I can keep those costs down. See you later, guys. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and notifications. It really helps. It's a small channel. We're trying to grow it. And if you're a small channel too, let us know, because we love watching, you know, smaller channels and see them grow. Thank you very much, guys.